Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 11 of the Utopiacast. I am your host, Eric Hogan, here with my co-host, Michael Beaupre. Michael, say hello to the people.
Hello.
We're also joined by our co-host, Elliot Vajnitsa. Elliot, hit the tagline.
Yo. Yo. Yo.
And today we are joined by a very special guest. Special is selling it pretty short. We have Mr. Zach Hirst, straight out of Dallas, Texas, or the greater Dallas area, whatever the hell it's called. Zach, how you doing?
Good.
Zach, you've been around the block. We've known each other for a while. How long have we known each other?
Dude, I think it's been like 10, 12, 15 years, something like that.
It's been a very long time. So we'll talk about how we met, how all of us kind of came into contact. But first, I want you to talk about yourself. So we met each other a long time ago. You're currently, first of all, what did you graduate college undergrad with?
My undergrad degree is in exercise science, pre-physical therapy.
So initially, when you entered college, what was the track, I guess, for what? Because you just said pre-PT, but you're not in PT school right now.
No, it was you were either exercise science, but you were either sport performance or you were PT, and that was all I had.
Right.
So
now, where you had just said it, where did you go to college again for undergrad?
St. Joseph's.
St. Joseph's, and where is that?
It's in Standish.
How did you enjoy? Yeah, and that's a funny story about these two. That's where they would come into contact quite often.
Well, we didn't really meet each other through that.
Not through that, but you would see each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
I would always see Michael's car, and I was like, I think I saw it one time, before I knew Michael that well, and I was like, yeah, that dude definitely has a small penis.
And that was because you drove what at the time?
WRX. STI.
Right.
All right. I sold that.
That's right. You got the.
Now he drives a mom car.
I would call it a dad's
It's a
mobile.
dad car.
Yeah, the dad's mobile, not the mom car.
Kia Sorento.
All right, so let's get back on track here. So you went to college, undergrad, exercise science, pre-PT track. You pursued something different. So talk about what you did right after you graduated, because you and I both graduated in the inaugural coronavirus class of 2020. What did you do right after you graduated?
Right after graduation, I went back to the summer job at Wild Acres, and worked maintenance and whatever else with you, and then the aerial park and stuff. And then I got a job at InterMed. There's a story about that, but
we go ahead and talk about it. Zach got employed by this company called InterMed. This is not a reflection on InterMed as a company. We are not affiliated with InterMed, so everything expressed after this, don't hold against us. Zach, I'm going to put it very blunt here, and you could fill in the gaps how you want to, because this is your story. You got fired from InterMed.
I got fired from InterMed. Yeah.
Why did you get fired from InterMed?
So I worked at InterMed when I first started there, September of 2020, and we were in the office and whatever, and we were doing that, and it was fine. Everything was fine. And then January, December time, something like that, coronavirus started getting bad again. And they sent us all home to work from home. And I worked from home for a few months after that. But when I first got back there, I was like, all right, this is okay, whatever. I can do this. And then as the months went on, I was like, this sucks. And I basically didn't want to do it anymore. So what I would do is I would get up out of bed. This is another thing you didn't know either, but I'll tell you this after. I would get out of bed and I would go clock in. And then I would go do I would go shower, make breakfast, and all this other stuff on the clock. And there was a few times. Remember that girl I used to see from Portland?
Yes.
Ann? Yeah. I would stay at her house during the week. She was a bartender, so she didn't have to be up in the morning, basically. Yeah. So I would stay at her house during the week, and I would get up. I would clock in and then close my laptop and drive from Portland back to Old Orchard.
That is insane. That is insane. So essentially, and again, you can fill in the gaps as needed. The company essentially did an audit on you and saw that there was hours of time where there was no work being done.
Yes.
And you were fired pretty much without warning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You got fired from that job. What did you do? You did a couple of things before we get into, I guess, what you're doing now. You did some bartending. Was that after that?
Yeah, bartending came in May, late May. But right after I got fired, I worked for my Uncle Kenny in construction.
Yep.
And then I also coached track and field at
Oh, I
the
forgot
University
about
of
that.
England.
Yes, you did coach for UNE. You did primarily jumps
Jumps and sprints.
yeah.
And
sprints, and you had a good time, and it was girls, correct?
it was women's, yeah.
Yeah, and the women enjoyed your time there. You didn't stay for very long, but that's because what we're leading into next. Do you ever look back and wish that you would have stuck with that, I guess? Or do you... Well, I guess let's talk about what you do now, and then we can revisit that. What do you do now? What are you doing down in Dallas, Texas?
I am in chiropractic school down there, and that's about all I'm doing.
Yeah.
But
So for the viewers listening or watching, Zach is here for 10 days. He's leaving Thursday of this week. He's down and living in Dallas in Texas full time. He's up here for a little vacation because the semester ended, 2 weeks ago or so?
yeah, about a week and a half ago.
Right, and is visiting and whatnot. Chiropractic College, what drew you to that? How did you end up there, and how are you liking it so far?
I think the big thing is my dad had a lot of experience with chiropractic care, medicine, and whatever you want to call it. And he had a lot of good benefits from it and whatnot. And then I wanted to do PT. I wanted to go to PT school and whatever, and I'd shadowed a few PTs, and it just left a very sour taste in my mouth, especially some of them, but...
We could shout out Southern Maine Healthcare Center in Saco.
Yeah, there was Southern Maine Healthcare in Saco, or as everyone from Saco calls it, Rick's.
Yeah, Rick.
There was one PT there.
We don't have to name him.
Yeah,
but...
I don't even remember his name.
Yeah.
But there was one PTA there specifically who is just a horrible human.
Didn't like you. He didn't like me either when I did my internship there.
No, he did not like me. Was very like snarky and like rude if you didn't know something and whatever. So left a sour taste in my mouth. And then I was like, I'm gonna apply to chiropractic school. Fuck it. So got in, and the rest is history. So.
And this is one of the better programs in the country, correct?
Yeah. That's kind of the
tagline for it.
Yeah, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So you are in your first year, your second year. It's all a blur.
I just finished my first year in May, so this is starting my second full year. Yeah.
And it's 3 total years.
It's a little over 3.
Right. What exactly has been your day to day? Are you a full-time student? Are you doing like practical stuff? Like let's say like you're in the middle of the semester, what does a typical day for you look like in chiropractic college for those who might want to get into it?
Well, I think the first thing that like I was shocked by is like undergrad, you're like max probably like 18 credit hours, something like that. My first semester or trimester of chiropractic college, I think was at 24 credit hours. And then this last trimester, I just did 28.
Yeah.
And then this trimester, I do 29 credit hours.
So how long are you like in school for?
It's 15 weeks. And the 15th week is final. So 14 weeks of coursework, 28 credits worth.
Wow.
I have 6 or 7 labs this coming trimester.
Right.
So, but basically get up, go to class, and then I've kind of schedule out a little block during my day to go to the gym, and then after that I pretty much go home and study and get homework done.
Right.
So
you've also gotten back into the grind of training and stuff.
Yeah, I've been going to the gym, but since I moved to Texas, I got out of like the powerlifting type of training, but just got back into it. So
yeah, absolutely. You already pulled. What was it the other day? It was
400.
400, and you're back to squatting over 300.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we joke about this all the time. Zach will take like a couple months off at a time. Within 4 weeks, already come back and squat 300, pull 400, whatever. So goes to show that it doesn't necessarily leave you like that. You just need to give it time.
Yep.
So you decided to go down the chiropractic route. You obviously want to be a chiropractor. What exactly is the end goal for you? Do you want to own your own practice? Do you want to, work for a sports team? What's the end goal if a dream scenario worked out for you?
I think dream scenarios work for some kind of sports team, but
Are you particular in what sport?
Not baseball.
Okay.
And not hockey.
That's fair.
But I'd like to work with track and field. Like, that's my big one.
Track and field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would be okay with like owning a practice somewhere and like seeing general population patients, but also like specializing in athletes, maybe being like in a gym somewhere, have an office inside of a gym, kind of like what's it called now, where you guys host your meets? It used to be Parisi Speed School.
OA?
Yeah, like how OA is like that little room, and then they have the big gym that they can also use outside of it.
Yeah.
Like that would be ideal, something like that.
Yeah.
So.
And do you want to stay in that area, or do you want to come back to Maine? What, like, I guess dream scenario. What would
I
you
hate
do?
Texas. I'd like it's so bad in there. It's like 100+ degrees every day.
The heat.
Yeah. Plus the traffic. I'm not like a city person.
Right.
And it's like, I think we looked it up the other day. Boston, I can't remember the population of Boston, but it's like, let's say 1 million or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas is like 7 million people. Like it's stupid.
And
it's
Elliot,
huge.
we were talking about this because you're talking about, this might be someone else, but you drove into Boston and it was really overwhelming for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that in the same deal with me. Can you imagine that times 7?
Elliot
Yeah,
won't
no,
even
that's
drive to Jack and Jill.
Dude,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
city driving is awful.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it.
I don't think we were talking about Boston. I think we were talking about Portland.
No, I was talking about Boston, but I think maybe you talked about Portland. Yeah.
I can't even do it.
Yeah, exactly. No, but to drive this point home the other day, me and Zach and his girlfriend who's here, we went out to, I think it was Chipotle or something like that. We were out to the main mall, and I asked him as a joke, how many times do you think that you honked your horn, down in Dallas or whatever? And he, with a straight face, said every day. He honks his horn at
Every
someone
single
every
day.
day.
God?
Yeah.
For reference,
Wow.
other than like joking and like playing a prank on someone, I've never honked my horn at someone.
I surprisingly do it a lot up here.
Do you?
Yeah.
In the big truck?
No, I never do it in that.
Oh, but you do honk your horn
Yeah,
in the
my car.
That's funny, dude. For what reason?
People
cut
piss
you.
me off.
Oh, okay.
People are stupid.
I've only driven with you once. Are you like a angry driver?
If someone cuts me off,
Yeah.
Um,
Would you say you honk because you're more aggressive or because people like violate you?
I'm not that aggressive.
Okay.
But people violate me. They
See,
cut
that's the
me
thing about
off.
city driving is you have to be aggressive.
I think.
Yeah.
yeah.
Elliot, I'm not sure if you used violate in like the right context.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. We're I think everyone knows that Elliot is a younger man. He sometimes fumbles his words. Zach, thank you for bringing attention to that.
I mean,
Alright.
we all knew, obviously, like, no one's violating
No,
him.
it's okay, Elliot. You don't need to see. You're just gonna. I tried to get you out of it, and you. Anyway.
It never works.
Anyway, so let's get into some fun stuff here. So what we wanted to do today is we're going to, and if lifting stuff comes up, we can absolutely talk about it, but we like to talk about other things as well. We want to take a trip down memory lane. All right, so we all met each other at different phases in our life, and then conversely speaking, we also have changed a little or a lot over the course of when we met each other. So we're just going to try to go from, when we met each other, and then whatever kind of comes up from that, we're going to go from there. Zach, all right, so when do you remember meeting me?
I think.
And then we'll see if this kind of coincides.
I remember, like, I have a horrible memory.
Yeah, you do. I don't.
I remember, like, 4th grade, because we had class together.
Yeah, we were in Mr. Poirier's class.
But I think it was honestly before that when we were all hanging out with, like, it was me, you, Logan Rennie. and I
That
think
was
Nathan
that
Moody
was
there.
along the same time, but I remember meeting you for the first time, like actually, in 3rd grade, and that was through rec basketball.
Yeah, you had Mr. Flaherty.
Yes.
I had Mr. Dowdy.
Right.
They were across the hall, but yeah, we didn't. I don't remember. I just remember 4th grade because we had class together.
Right. Exactly. And I would say we've probably been friends since 4th grade.
Yeah.
4th grade was roughly 2007. So 2022. Someone do the math. How long has that been?
15 years.
15 years. So you're pretty much on the dot. I think it's crazy that we're at the age. So Zach, how old are you, by the way?
I'm 24.
But you're about to turn 25 pretty
25
soon.
next month.
Yeah, so we're at the age where we've known people for 15 years. I have like clients on Team Hogan roster that are 15. You know what I mean? So that like it always just freaks me out and whatnot. So I'm gonna give you how I remember meeting Zach, and then he can remember what it was like meeting me because I think this would be a funny story here. So this is how I remember it. I remember Zach. Zach was, first of all, you were held back a grade.
In 1st grade, yeah.
Right. So Andrew Graves, who has been on the podcast a few times, he was initially in his class. He was held back. So Zach and I were 2 of the oldest people in our class.
Yep.
We were 18 our entire, well, pretty much I was, you were for most of our senior year of high school. So I remember meeting you. You were taller, I remember, than a lot of all the other 3rd graders. You're a little bit of an asshole.
Come on, that hasn't changed.
Yeah, I was gonna say. That was your best sport at the time. Obviously, 3rd grade is not that much, but I remember you were advanced probably for that age. I was not, and I don't remember you exactly liking we didn't really acknowledge each other that first time. What do you remember about me, I guess, growing up?
The only thing I remember about you is, I don't remember what grade it was, but Eric went to go play for like Biddeford or something like that.
That's right.
And I was so pissed for
Yeah.
some reason. That's the only way I remember Eric. I was like, he's a fucking traitor.
Yeah, I remember that. And I remember I came back and everyone's like, dude, you're a fucking traitor or whatever. And I didn't play like at all, so I wasn't developing. So I was like, I don't know, my dad put me in a... we'll see if I can find the picture. I'm going to superimpose. When I used to play basketball, I used to wear a fucking skull cap on my head because I had longer hair that came to here. And my dad, because we didn't know any better, my dad's like, just put one of these on so it'll get out of your eyes. And it looked ridiculous. But I still have that picture somewhere, so I'm going to see if I can find it. So we'll go back and forth. What I want to highlight now is your relationship with Michael here. How did you guys meet? It was in the gym, I remember, right? Because you guys kind of met through me.
Yeah, it was definitely in the gym.
Right.
Yeah.
So roughly, what, 2018?
Yeah, probably like
Something like
2008.
that. Yeah.
Right.
I
Exactly.
think I was I want to say I was like a junior.
Yeah.
In
So,
college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's about
And that
around
was
that
and it
time.
was before I met Lydia.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And how long have you and Lydia been together now?
It'll be 4 years in October.
Wow, that's crazy.
Jesus.
We remember when you went before that. You guys have a very interesting relationship. Zach came back for the first time in how long has it been since you've been back here before?
A little over a year.
Okay, so a little over a year.
I don't think I've seen you since. Oh wait, we were talking about this. Was it my 22nd birthday? We were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
2 years. No, actually, last year.
Something, yeah, regardless. It's been a very long time since Zach and Michael saw each other. And last Saturday at the gym, he pulled up. And I think, if I remember correctly, Zach pulled up and goes, "Sup, pussy?"
Where did that start? Like,
Exactly. So where did it come from, this constant banter between you guys?
I don't even know why.
I was
I
going to
don't
say,
know
because
why either.
it's not like you guys have a deep history. It's just constant, like...
I think it was just like I would look at Michael and be like, "You're such a fag."
And for reference...
But why?
For reference, earlier today, as we were setting up for this pod or whatever, Michael called Zach a bitch, and Zach said, "At least I'm over 6 feet." And that was within 5 minutes of walking in the door.
We gotta throw
As
it
he's
back,
walking
too.
in, I flipped him off.
Right.
We got to throw it back too to I forget what pod it was, but we FaceTimed Zach and
Yep.
Yeah.
fucking kid Joe.
Yes, that fucking
Mike-
kid Joe.
Joe was there
Yeah,
too?
Joe was in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Michael goes, I've never heard Michael like really cuss or like do anything. He's such an innocent guy in real life. Hands Michael the phone. Sup, pussy? It's so funny.
Yeah, so whatever reason, you guys like to give each other a hard time. I still haven't figured out why, and it looks like we're not going to find that answer right now. Any?
I don't know. I wish I knew, but I
Boys
don't
will be
know.
boys.
It just started randomly and never stopped.
Never stopped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Which is, it's funny to me because it's never, because sometimes when you have like friends like that, Zach is one of these people, like sometimes crosses the line. I mean, everyone does it. I do it. Actually, I'm probably the most habitual offender of crossing the line there. But for you guys, it like always stays at like, if this is the borderline, you guys come right to it and then stay there the entire time. It never gets
We don't
into
make
the-
it personal.
Yeah, it never gets to. You guys make it personal, but it never gets to the point of like, bro, like shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Which is interesting to me. Now I think this is funny. Elliot and Zach just recently met, and they kind of have a similar dynamic between the two. Elliot, what are your thoughts on this guy right here?
Fucking bitch.
Wow.
My God.
No, I'm just kidding, dude.
Give me your honest opinion. No, Zach, what are you gonna say?
One of my first like memories of Elliot was, we would be in the gym and no one really knew who Elliot was. He was always there.
He was like 14, 15 years
Yeah,
old.
you were still in like high school and
Yeah.
whatever, like TA. But you would be like one of those like kids who came in and was just obnoxious. Like you just come in, you just be obnoxious and like take all the equipment and whatever. And then we like slowly started talking to him.
That just hit me.
We slowly started talking to him, and one of the first things Elliot ever asked me, because I was like, oh yeah, like I graduated like in like a pre-PT program or whatever, and he was like, bro, do you know what like scapular winging is? And I was like, dude, I have no clue.
I didn't actually know about that.
I was like, dude, I have no clue what you're talking about.
You know
Yeah,
what's
I remember
happening?
that because I can like dislocate, like basically I have it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was creating muscle imbalances at the time because I was just like you said, I was just obnoxious teenager, and I just wanted to fix it, and I don't know, you were just there.
I can tell you how to fix it now.
Thanks, bro.
No problem.
Was I that obnoxious?
You weren't that bad.
I don't
No,
remember
you were-
you
No,
that
why
he
was
was
I
like
that offended?
he was like one of the people. Like he would come in with a group.
Yeah.
Like the group
Oh, yeah.
itself was
Yeah.
bad, but like Elliot wasn't bad.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was going to say I unfairly labeled you based on because I didn't know you that well before, and I don't really pay attention to it. But I unfairly labeled you based on around the crew that you had.
Yeah.
Not that they were like. There's only like one in particular that I can think of that was like abhorrent,
Yeah.
but otherwise, you know, like George and Andy were legit. You know what
they're,
I mean?
they're honest, yeah.
Especially when I got to meet them. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So fast forward, we met each other in early elementary / at Old Orchard. For those listening, Old Orchard Beach does it weird. You guys can fill us in with how, because where did you go to Saco Middle or did you go to Thornton Middle?
I went to Saco.
I went to soccer.
Before I get into that, how common is it for people to go to Thornton Middle?
You have to live in like Arundel or Dayton,
Oh, okay.
Or you can't
you-
live in like Saco.
No, or you can be
No.
like,
where you pay.
yeah, pay a
Or you
lot.
pay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you guys do it there, but middle school for Old Orchard was a little bit different. It was 4 through 8. What is it? And Saco?
6 to 8.
8.
Yeah, middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it usually is. Very interesting, again, dynamic. Being a 4th grader and you see these kids who are like, 14 and the older ones on the, 13 and 14, walking in the same halls as them. There was, hate to say it, there was a lot of bullying that went on. Zach, you can, not by us, but Zach, you can remember because we never really necessarily bullied people. That's probably pushing a little bit. We definitely got bullied though. And you could probably think of several scenarios there, but it was just a very interesting dynamic to have that set up, I guess, and be in the same school for that long. So we went through 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Middle school was nothing to really write home about. I don't really think of not necessarily that I don't look back on it fondly, but it just wasn't really memorable, I guess. Pouring it up. For those watching, Zach just poured up some Red Bull into this. What is this that we're drinking?
That's a powdered Hawaiian
It's
punch.
the powdered Hawaiian punch, all right? That's legit.
Yeah.
So we got into high school, Zach, and we played all the same sports, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what were the sports that we participated at Old Orchard Beach High School?
Well, for the first 2 years, we didn't play football.
Right.
And then it was basketball and track and field. And then the last 2 years, we also played football on top of those. And AAU basketball.
And AAU basketball. We're going to shout out the Maine Bombers.
Ron Barris.
Ron Barris. Shout out
Yep.
Billy Ruby
Shout out
if you're
Billy
listening to
Ruby,
this.
yeah.
Yeah. All the others are not really coming to mind. But that being said, we played a lot of sports with each other. We played probably, if I had to count, including AAU games, probably like 600 total games across every different sport that we did together.
Yeah.
What was your positions in each sport that you did, and I guess events in track and field? And then I guess to segue off that, what was your best, if you had to pick?
In football, I played receiver and defensive back. In basketball, I was like a guard forward. I would argue
Yeah.
more so. And then in track and field, I was a long and triple jumper. Those were my best too. But then I also ran the 4x100 and 4x400.
Yep.
I would say I was best at track and field.
That's the track.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why would you say that, I guess?
I don't know.
Because you had success in all three.
Football the least.
Football the least,
The
but you
least
definitely
successful.
had success in all three.
Yeah. I don't know. I think track and field, I was just like, I was probably one of the best jumpers to come through track and field in a long time.
Yeah.
So,
Whole
and
state or Old Orchard?
in the whole state, I was like, my senior year, I was pretty good, but in Old Orchard, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember, and this still to this day, I don't know if it haunts you, but it kind of haunts me, honestly. We thought that it was a meet in Falmouth. We thought that Zach broke the school record for long jump, which was, what's the school record?
The school record is 20 feet 9.5 inches.
20 feet 9.5 inches. Am I saying this correct? Your jump was 20 feet 9 inches and a fourth, a quarter.
It was 20 feet 9 inches.
20 feet 9 inches. You're a half inch short.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, you never got back to that.
No, I jumped that on my second jump, and the coaches, won't say anything about them, but the coaches should have known what it was.
Right.
And they told me that was a school record, so I scratched my last jump.
Which
and,
sucks, dude, because you were on fire that day.
And then we got back to school. I went and checked it. It wasn't
Right. Exactly. That day, still to that day just haunts. I don't know. That just is just so. Especially because you never really had an opportunity, because you jumped pretty well for the rest of that year, but you never really had an opportunity to like set it again. You know what I mean? Because you were so busy like, doing triple jump stuff and doing and stuff and whatever. Basketball. What was your game like?
3-and-D.
3-and-D. Zach likes to think that he was the best defensive
I
player
was the best defensive on the team.
in Old Westwood Beach like history. Make the case.
I locked that kid down. I don't remember his name or where he went. Well,
See,
what school was
this
that?
is the content that we want right here.
What school was that?
It was Hyde.
Yeah, I locked that kid down. Best player on the team. Great handles. Locked him down. 5-second call at half court.
He played his zone defense.
I guarded him at half court on that specific play, and I was the only person who locked him down all game.
You're very passionate about this.
Because Eric doesn't believe me.
None of us know. We've never seen this, so we don't know who to believe.
What I am going to do is I'm going to link your mixtape, your junior year mixtape,
Link
on
it.
here, and I'll let the viewers decide whether you were nice or not.
Fun fact about that video, we had a project to do in chiropractic school, a philosophy project, and my reference was my mixtape.
You take philosophy.
Chiropractic philosophy, yeah, it's trash.
It's not actual philosophy.
Like,
You're about to get him emotional. Yeah, so we played a ton of basketball games. Don't really want to get into that too much, but I guess to give you your flowers, we've been through like I guess every iteration of everything besides college basketball together. And you had some looks at the college level, correctly? Am I remembering that correct? I guess.
Yeah, but not many.
Right.
It was like 1 or 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that was at the D3 level?
Mm-hmm.
And you went to St. Joseph's originally to do track, correct?
Yep.
That kind of fizzled out.
Yes.
You and me both fizzled out in our first year. What was the deciding factor on? Because you made the decision to leave the team.
Mm-hmm.
What was take me through the timeline, I guess.
So we had a coach there who was extremely like knowledgeable, knew what he was talking about. He coached at Chevrolet too.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. We called him Coach Steve.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember his last name.
Yeah.
And he coached us, and he just basically like ran me into the ground
Yeah.
and tried to change my jumping so much that like I wasn't even good anymore.
Right.
And then on our first meet, it was at USM indoor. I was triple jumping, and it was like my second jump because he had me long. He had me in long, triple, the 400, and the 4x4.
Right.
And I had run the 400 and came back to do my last jumps for triple. And my second jump, my right knee completely gave out. When I
Right.
came down and landed, and I fell on the track, and I was like, I'm done.
Right.
So.
What about that ass clown that recruited you?
Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck was up with that guy?
He was weird, first of all. He was kind of weird around like the girls too.
Yeah.
He got fired from Farmington.
Right.
Coach track there got fired. Then coach track at USM got fired again, and then ended up at St. Joe's, got fired again.
You would think that like after the second one, like the school would like see the red flag and be like, let's just like take a step away from this guy. But instead they're like, yeah, come on in. You know
St.
what I
Joe's
mean?
is just a dying school altogether.
Right. And that guy, like I said, was a complete ass clown.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know what he was doing. Yeah. And unfortunately lured you to that school. Not saying that you regret that decision. But maybe you would have considered other places if you would have known what it turned into.
Yeah, I would have. If I had known what that was going to be, I would have gone out of state for college, and I probably would have stayed closer for chiropractic school.
Makes sense.
But I stayed in state for college, and then went really far away for chiropractic school.
Do you ever regret leaving the track team? Do you ever wish that would have worked out?
No.
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 Why is that?
I just once I left, I was a lot happier there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I do wish that I like would have jumped. Definitely, I guess I should say that. I do wish I would have jumped, but like in terms of the team and the coach, no.
Right.
But then they got a new coach shortly after I left, and it was Tom Dan,
Right.
and he's good. And for anyone who knows, Kate Hall,
Yeah.
she also coaches there.
Yeah.
She's an
Absolutely.
Olympian.
She hasn't made the Olympics.
She
yet.
hasn't made, but she's competed in Olympic trials.
Yeah.
So
And she was was she the same? She was one grade ahead of us.
she was one ahead of us.
Yeah. She was probably, other than that girl at the Class A level, the most prolific.
Yeah.
She's definitely most prolific jumper, but one of the most prolific sprinters as well. She's incredible. All right, so let's talk about some things here. We were kind of like brainstorming what we want to talk about, and as I mentioned, taking the trip down memory lane or whatnot. I thought it was pretty interesting because me personally, now other people who know me might say something different. I think I've changed quite a lot since I was like in high school and whatnot. Michael made the claim that he doesn't really think he's changed at all. Elliot is like 2 years removed from high school. So these guys haven't really got a chance to speak. So I'll start with Elliot first. Elliot, I'm going to try to make this as abstract as I can because I know this is how you like things. Maybe it's not that abstract, but still. We're all biased. If I were to take one of your friends that I don't know,
Yep.
and I asked them to describe you in your 4 years of high school at Thornton Academy, what are the things that they would tell me? Be real.
Dude, honest to God, I'm going to do some serious ones, and then I'm going to say the one that I think most people would say.
Okay.
I'd say extroverted in the right crowds,
Okay.
but shy in the majority of my classes.
Okay.
Preppy, and borderline gay.
What?
We need the mic drop moment. Mic drop moment on the Utopiacast here. That's a bad thing. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so I'm not actually gay, first off. Zach, don't worry.
You have no, there's no need to worry. You have a girlfriend.
I do have a girlfriend who I love very much.
And okay, I'm gonna let you
Kid,
speak.
I'm booed up.
Now I know you're booed up. Please speak upon this because I want you to like. I just want to know what's the deal here.
All right, I'm just gonna start from the beginning. My freshman year, I kind of got involved with this weird crowd of people that were like, they were like side. Did OOB have like cliques?
Of course.
Or what? Like
I would say they definitely did.
I know.
Right,
I feel like cliques are kind of falling out of the times where like you don't really have the popular kids and the weirdos anymore. But I was kind of in this clique where we were like side popular.
Mm.
So we weren't like the main group of kids that got invited to everything.
The side popular. I like this.
But everyone like knew us, I guess.
Yeah.
But we just like weren't it.
Right.
And then
This is awesome. This is like a movie.
just because no, for real. And then I don't know, like I was just whack. Like I really wanted to fit in. It was high school.
Keep going. I like this. This is why I want to talk about this.
I like all through middle school I was shy. I was really like I guess a loner. I was the smart kid, the nerdy kid. I was in weird classes. So in high school, right, I wanted it to be like a fresh start. And I think I just got off on the wrong foot because I got involved in this crowd and I started to dress weird.
Yeah.
Like I tried to be like really like I said, preppy.
Okay.
And then
so when you say preppy, what would be like an example of that?
like jeans and boots and sweaters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And people just assumed I was gay.
Really?
Yeah, for the first like 3 years of high school.
I think that's kind of unfortunate though, that like something like that would just, because again, it's not necessarily that, being gay is a bad thing or anything. That's not what we're trying to say.
It's not bad, but when you're in high school and you're younger,
Yeah.
it's definitely like, there's a reason, I'm going to generalize here, but there's a reason it's hard to like come out.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a very good point. And
It's,
I guess that's the point I'm trying to drive home is that's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but it didn't fucking stop me. I'm booed up.
Yeah, you are booed up. And you're still dating the girl that were you guys dating in high school?
Yeah, my senior year.
Okay, so and you're still dating the same girl.
Yeah, we met my sophomore year.
Yep.
That's a cool story. We can talk about it on a different pod.
Yeah.
Maybe when we have the girls on.
Yeah, I was
We
gonna
have the
say.
girls on, yeah.
We have my girl on too.
You got multiple girls, I heard.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Anyway.
But yeah, so people thought I was gay. I like, dude, I kept trying to get with girls. I had this weird thing where I was like really obsessed with girls.
Yeah.
Like I was girl crazy. Because,
Zach can relate to this.
Zach is
Not
always
in
girl
No,
crazy.
no.
on.
Do not say no, Zach, or anything like
Not
that.
in high school.
No, I wasn't
No.
girl crazy like this kid though.
I'm gonna call cap on that, Zach, but we'll talk about you after. Elliot's up right now.
I just like felt left out, and like I had this whole thing where I wanted to like fit in, and I just wanted a girlfriend. Like it was
Right,
just
so you
the thing
wanted
do
to
in
kind of
real
like
time.
compensate.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And just that extra like thirst about me like made it seem like I was just even more.
Just more
gassed.
wild. Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know.
Now, all right. Now, again, I want to get to Michael here, but were you necessarily? And again, I just want to really drive home that we're not saying that being gay is a bad thing.
Oh,
Anything like
no,
that.
absolutely not.
But were you made fun of because of that? Like, were people like, was that something someone people actively used against you?
Like in my friend group, yeah.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't know what, like, I can't speak to what the majority of kids actually thought, but definitely in my friend group, like, I'd be like, oh, like I have a, oh, I have a crush on like such and such.
Yeah.
Dude, are you kidding me? Like, you're literally gay. Like, just quit.
Oh,
like,
I see.
Shit like that.
Yeah, and like when you're younger though, stuff like that really, really gets to you, even if you don't let it, show.
At this point in time, we're more independent people, and
Yeah.
My success is determined by myself.
Yeah, of course.
That wouldn't bother me, but when you're,
Yeah. Exactly, and that. But I guess to get back to your main point, so essentially, you were. I like how you described it, and I'm gonna butcher it, but people knew you, but you weren't it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Right, and you guys went to, at that time, I think it still is, the biggest school in the state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thorne Academy.
I don't know what would be bigger.
Yeah, especially with the dorm system and whatnot. But Michael, again, we're biased, and the way me and Zach are gonna do this is gonna be pretty funny here. If again, I don't know all of your friends. I know Travis. I know some other people and whatnot. If there was someone that I didn't know to describe you, how you were in high school, how would they describe you?
I guess I was kind of quiet, like I still kind of am.
Mm-hmm.
They would say that like I do now, like I work out all the time. Like
Right.
I'd always go after school. I was kind of similar to Elliot. Like I was in like the popular crowd, but like not.
Relax, though.
Yeah, like I was friends with everybody else, but like I wouldn't go out with them and like hang out with them.
Yeah.
My junior and senior year, no, actually it was just my senior year. I had like a lot of parties at my house, and like I drank a lot.
See, this is the content I want to hear. Yeah.
Which kind of changed me later. Like now, I don't really drink that much at all.
Right.
I mean, and now I'm of age, and
Yeah.
but yeah, I think I was just kind of like quiet and stuff, but with the right friends, I would like be outgoing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's gonna reign true for pretty
That's
much everyone.
everyone,
Yeah. And I guess that just means you pick the right friend group. You're able to, express yourself. Where now, I'll ask both of you guys: do you still have friends in? Are the core group of friends that you had in high school, are they the same now?
I have some like Travis, another one Chunk, Austin Robinson.
Yo, that's hard.
That's hard.
But like we had like a big group, and like we've kind of all just like some of them moved away and stuff, but
Yeah.
like we don't all hang out. I pretty much see like Travis and Chunk now.
Right, just Travis and Chunk.
Yeah.
Right. What about you, Elliot?
No, I know no one.
Really?
It's completely whack. Well, Andy and George, obviously.
Okay. Yep.
And I guess Adam.
Yep.
Whatever, kids like that. Because there was more to us than just like high school friends. But other than that, I know no one. I don't care about anyone that I met in high school except for Grace.
Yeah. Okay.
And dude, even like you guys here, like, what is it? Like, who is this kid?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Okay. We can talk about it.
But like, yeah, I'm just in a completely new circle.
Yeah.
I think it's for the best.
That is true. That's when again, there's a weird intermediate zone that exists. Like that first year you graduate high school, you're like, fuck that, I don't care about it or whatever. And then you settle into, you're like, you know what, some of those days were pretty cool. And I think we're at that phase now where, or at least I am, like I don't necessarily miss those days, but I don't necessarily regret like that time. Like I enjoyed a lot of that time.
Elliot, so were your friends mostly in your grade? Because like now you're friends with like us, and we're a lot older than you.
No,
Very good
my
question.
friends were actually so my freshman year, like that group of friends that I was just talking about, like the popular but not it, they kind of fell off towards my sophomore year because actually George Horvat, who I had known for a long time prior, he's two grades above me. Mm-hmm. So he would have been a senior when I was a sophomore. He introduced me to a lot of his friends in the drama club. And then from there, they kind of became my group.
Okay.
And
You didn't do drama stuff, did you?
I did tech.
Okay, yeah.
Because I didn't fucking care about drama.
I know, but that's honestly kind of hard doing tech. For
It's
the
hard
shows.
doing tech, and then I met a lot of friends, and it was cool having upperclassmen friends.
Yeah.
I met a lot of actually cool people.
Did you do the robotics class?
No,
I did it. It was actually kind of fun.
that's
It
hard.
was so easy though.
I didn't branch out like that in high school.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll get to me and Zach here. Now, I want to set the precedent of and it's, I don't know if we necessarily have a lot of people who went to Old Orchard Beach High School who listen to this podcast, but I want to try to set the stage of what it looked like going to that school. It was quite literally like a reality show. Would you agree, Zach?
Yeah.
Yes. So we went to Old Orchard Beach High School. It was very, as Elliot said, cliquey.
Yeah.
There were very distinct crowds, and I hate to, because we try to be, as all-encompassing as we can on the Utopiacast here, but I'm just gonna say how it was. There were the quote-unquote cool kids and like the kids who play sports and stuff like that. There were not necessarily like the whack kids, but I guess the I hate to say it, but like the weirdos type deal. Yeah. And then there was like the and again, I hate using these terms, but this is just how it was, like the burnouts and stuff like that, like the people that you knew that were going down, I guess, the wrong path. And then there were the intermediates. Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, we were probably a little bit different from you guys. We were probably the main characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were, like you guys said, you were on like the outside.
We're just whack.
Yeah.
I was an intermediate from what you just described.
Yeah. So you were in the intermediate, kind of like everyone knew you, but you weren't it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Everyone knew us and we were it. And this is not to say we like this old peaked in high school thing, but that's just because we only had 54 people in our class.
Right. And I knew most of the, I guess you would say more like popular people because I used to play sports with them.
Right.
But I stopped playing sports my sophomore year
Right.
of high school. So I kind of like, I knew them. We grew up together, but like, I just didn't hang out with them.
Yeah, of course. And like I said, it was more so the fact that our senior year, we had 54 people in our class and 280 in the school. That's another thing. You probably walked, maybe you, not you, but I know for me, I could walk down and list off everyone's name that I came into
Everyone's
contact with.
first and last name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
That's crazy.
And that's different compared to you guys.
How many do you have in your class?
54. Our graduating class was 54.
Like
Yeah.
54 kids in my English class.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think
So,
our graduation ceremony was like maybe an hour.
So,
yeah.
Maybe.
Yep.
So how many kids were like in a classroom at a time?
I mean, it was like
20?
at max 20,
yeah. Max.
All right, so I asked for their perspective for other people. We knew each other in high school,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna let you go first, Zach.
Like
And
my perspective on you?
yeah, your perspective on me. You don't need to hold back. You don't, because I'm gonna let you go, Zach. Describe who was I in high school, and then we can kind of circle back, and then I'll go.
Eric was the kid who like he was like really good at sports and stuff and like was part of that like popular group type of thing, but like everyone also liked him. Like he was actually like a decent, like I'm gonna be honest, you definitely put on an act with most of the people there. Come on,
I'm gonna let you.
elaborate
No.
on
I'm
what you mean by
gonna
that.
let him keep going.
So he doesn't act the way he does.
no,
listen.
not like an act, but like
I'm gonna let him keep
people
going.
would be like people he would talk to like me, Joe, Andrew, Harl about like outside of school. He would get into school and like they would talk to him and he would be like so nice to them, blah blah blah, and
Well, you
like
can't
whatever.
be like an ass to everybody.
Oh, I take it back. You definitely can.
Well, maybe.
I was gonna say, keep going, Zach. I want to let you.
That's kind of it. Like that's the way that I think like most of the people were like would remember you as.
Right.
And maybe except like minus a few like when you ran for president and stuff and
Right.
whatever. But like aside from that,
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with most of that. Now, I'm not gonna 100% agree that all of it was an absolute front.
come on.
But as you guys mentioned, I was different around different people.
Yeah.
And again, Zach brought up an interesting, like for me, I was like, it was weird. I was kind of like cool with the jocks, but also cool with the nerdy kids.
That was me too.
Yeah. And I was like directly affiliated with both sides of it.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting. Like, one of my best friends in high school who no longer talks to me for reasons I'm not sure, and I'm going to name drop him on the podcast, Josh Kenny.
Oh yeah.
Just stopped talking to me. He didn't play any sports, but he was more on the academic side. He was one of my best friends throughout the entire span of high school. And then of course I had all of the sports friends that I had.
He didn't play sports, but he was honestly very good at basketball.
He was
Like when you would play pickup and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't need to get into why he couldn't play sports and stuff like that. That's but regardless, I am pissed off that he stopped talking to me. He stopped talking to everyone, but
Yeah.
that being said, before I guess I litigate myself and talk about that. All right, Zach, for lack of a better term, to some people. All right, now Zach, if he was around the right group of people, he was just like one of the guys and was just like a ball buster, like how everyone kind of is. We all kind of were.
Yeah.
He could go through periods where I wouldn't say Zach was ever like overtly nice to people because that's just not his personality. But he was never like around like us or whatever. Like he would be there. Like if you need Zach for something, he would be there. I would say the average person who went to high school with us, and especially towards the end, would label Zach as an asshole. Zach, I feel like that's fair.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Zach was very... I don't know if mature is the right word to use here. Not that you were immature, but I'm struggling on a better word to use. Zach was very matter of fact. Maybe that was the right word to use here, or the right phrase. If he, for lack of, again, if it was for better or for worse, if something came to his mind, he just said it. And sometimes that rubbed people the wrong way. And I think it usually rubbed people the wrong way.
It still does, yeah.
And I remember several scenarios where, because me and Zach had a lot of classes with each other, Zach would say something and I would have to step in and be like, he doesn't really mean it like that. And then, of course, he'd be back, yeah, I do.
Bro, that's...
Yeah, that's how I personally remember you. You look a lot different now. Okay, so for those watching, Zach got a mustache situation going on, which is pretty sick. You had very, very short hair, not long at all.
Yeah.
I would say back then you dressed more to stunt, I guess.
Yeah.
You were a big Jordan guy.
Yeah.
You had a ton of Jordan sneakers. You had not necessarily expensive clothes because you weren't rich or anything like that. But you definitely dressed nicer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In terms of this is, I think, the biggest thing. You were not a student.
No.
So we had a graduating class of 54. I believe you finished 20.
I want to say it was 22nd.
I think you were 22nd, and our other best friend that grew up with us, Joe, was 33rd.
I thought it was like 25th.
No, I think he was 33rd.
Yeah.
I remember because you guys were 11 spaces, or because you were 22, he was 33, because I don't know, just 22, 33. You weren't bad, but you definitely did not try at all in school.
Mm-mm.
There would be several times where Zach would beg me for answers on homework, and I was the kid where, because you know how some people, sometimes you have kids who are like chill about it. Like, yeah, bro, like I was not chill about it.
Really?
Yeah. So
You're lame.
Yeah, so
I did the same things I did.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yo, like, give me your answers, and I'd be like, no. So he would have
I'd
to
be in class copy.
Several times in Spanish class, Zach would show up, just absolute made a mockery of this woman's class, and just have nothing done. Didn't like bother learning the language or anything like that. I'd be like, yo, Eric, give me all your answers. And I'd be like, fuck you, dude. And he'd get mad at me, and he'd be like, I don't understand. I would do it for you. And I'd be like, I'm never in the situations. You would never have to do it that way. And he would have to take all these zeros. And the funny story, the Spanish teacher tried passive aggressively to get him to drop the class, and he still wouldn't do it.
Yeah. I made it all the way to Spanish 4. In Spanish 4, you're supposed to like only speak Spanish. You step in the classroom, you speak Spanish. You don't speak English. And I would walk in there just like speaking English in the class. And she was not happy about it.
You would never do the homework, and I remember like through the first quarter, Zach had like a D or something like that.
Yeah, and I don't know how I passed.
And she goes, she looked right at Zach and goes, anyone who's thinking about dropping the class, it's not too late. And then I remember one time she actually took him aside and was like, Carmelo, like, you're not doing very, because we had Spanish names. Yeah. He was Carmelo. I was Miguel, I believe.
Yeah.
And she's like, Carmelo, like, you're not doing too well. Like, it would be like good for you if you dropped this class. I remember he's like, no, it's okay. Like, I want to stay. And she was like trying to like get it into his head that like you shouldn't be here. Like, I don't want you to be here. But she was really nice to him. So no, it wasn't like a personal thing. It was more so like, you're doing awful in this class. You need to get out.
The whole reason I wanted to stay in that class is because like Eric and the other kid, Josh Kenny, they were all in like the honors classes. So I never had classes with them.
That is true.
I had some classes with Joe here and there, but like typically not the same schedule. And then if I stayed in Spanish, all 4 of us were in the same class. So
right.
I was like, I gotta stay in this class.
And we had other friends in that class. And all right, and I guess the other main thing that I remember from you is you weren't necessarily a bully. All right, I want to get that clear. You enjoy to push the envelope. If there was drama, I wouldn't necessarily you were involved. But if there was drama, you like to take it from like a 4 out of 10 to like a 7 out of 10. He was a very big instigator.
Stirring the pot, man.
Yeah, you definitely love to stir the pot. And that's something that still hasn't changed.
No. And I love drama as long as it's not, as long as I'm not involved in it, I'm like, yeah, count me in.
Yeah, exactly. If it doesn't directly concern him and he can like do something to like incite it a little bit more, he'll definitely do it. Mm-hmm. I guess the main differences for me back then, I definitely I don't know. Would you say I still like dress the same and do that type of stuff?
I would say you dress more like out there is not the word I want to use.
Back then?
Now.
Now.
I would say
okay,
now
yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
But like you wear more of like the out there kind of clothes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is fine. Fuck it.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think I was as fake as you are making me out to be, but I will admit that I definitely cared a little bit more, especially what like older people, like the teachers, thought of me.
Yeah.
Funny story that arises from this. Zach, you'll like this one. It was our senior year. We were at prom, and our other best friend that we just talked about, Joe Anderson, won Homecoming King, and I don't know how it works at TA or anything like that.
You vote.
Just vote.
Okay, yes, but like is there like an unwritten rule that the Homecoming King can't also be Prom King?
I don't think so.
Okay, so like there was like an unwritten rule of the OOBHS that whoever wins Prom King or Homecoming King is not eligible for Prom King. Basically, the kids voted for Homecoming King and Queen, and the teachers voted for Prom King and Queen.
Mm-hmm.
We got to prom, and not that it like made like a huge difference, but it was either going to be me, our friend Josh Kenny, or Zach. And we thought that this was going to be it. Like, which one of us is it going to be? And they do this thing called prom courts, right? Where like there's like 3 or 4 people that get selected and are on the courts, I guess. Ryan, why don't you take a step in real quick? This is my brother right here. Ryan, why don't you get in? Don't put your lips like this close, but like speak close to the mic. This is my brother right here. This is Ryan Hogan, straight out of Old Earth. He just got out of work. Say hello. Say what's good to this mic.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
All right. That's Ryan, everyone. He went to Old Beach High School as well. Proud of him. Love that kid. All right, so back on track here. So we were at prom. We thought it was going to be the 3 of us. And again, this prom court thing. The first name they read off for prom court, me. So I'm already out of the running. And everyone was like, oh, Erik didn't win or whatever. The second name they call is Josh Kenny. So remember, there was the 3 of us. And I could see Zach, because from where I was, you probably don't remember this, but I could see where you were at. And you were like, he was like, yo, or whatever. They call, and the prom king is, and they call some fucking kid's name, his name was Brandon Saucier, and I see Zach, he throws his hands up, and it's like, I could see him like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So that goes to show you that Zach, unfortunately, was not, and it's because you were real, and I think, looking back on it, that's what we admire about you now. Back then, it rubbed along people the wrong way.
Yeah.
You weren't well liked.
No.
You don't care about that, though.
No.
No, and you still don't.
No.
No.
That's the thing is like people don't like me because I'm real.
Yeah.
It'd be different if I was like just an asshole for no reason. Well, like I'm not. I'm like
what,
if I don't like you, I'm gonna make sure you know that I don't like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like if I feel some type of way and be like, hey, you know, this whatever, blah blah blah, and people just don't like that.
Right.
Well, then it's just a reflection on themselves. So it's
Yeah. I mean, so whatever. Fuck it.
Now, you guys talked about how you were back then. How is that juxtaposed to how you are now? Let's go with Elliot first because we started with him. So you said like preppiness and we don't have to talk about like the gay thing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like how are you different? Because you were only in high school 2 years ago.
Yeah.
What is the main difference, I guess, now?
Well, I think for me, might be different for all of you guys. Is I kind of matured through my last 2 years of high school. Were through Corona.
Yeah.
So my middle, I guess, of my junior year, was fully online, remote. I didn't show up to a single class. Like I basically just dropped out of school for the second half of the school year, and then my full senior year, I did it online, and it was much more relaxed. I still like kind of avoided Zooms.
Yeah.
So I guess for those 2 years, I kind of would like looking back on it. It feels like I was out of school anyway.
Yeah.
And I think those 2 years, more than anything that I went through this year with college, kind of altered the person that I was.
Right. Well, I met you, I guess, towards the tail end of your high school career.
Yeah.
And I can say, just judging based, because I didn't know you before that.
Yeah.
You're definitely more mature now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say that's accurate, or?
Yeah, I think I'm more mature. I think I was always pretty mature throughout high school. Like,
But even more so now.
Yeah, I kind of fell in like my class, because you guys are all older.
Yeah.
and I was friends with a lot of the older kids in high school. Like, I was definitely still like whack. Like, I was younger and I was stupid, but I was still like less stupid than I would say the general like public at school was. And then through Corona, I just kind of like, I stopped caring about all the stuff that made me whack. So like the whole preppy thing, I just completely dropped that because that was just a front to like get people to like me and to be like handsome or whatever in school. It's fucking rebounded on me, but that's okay. And I started to focus on like,
I'm sorry, it's just you wanted to be handsome? That was one of your fucking things? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
like,
keep going.
Well, I mean,
yes, I understand what's your point, but I just think that's fine. Keep going.
Yeah, and I started to just focus on what I actually love to do.
Yeah.
Which turns out it was powerlifting. So the reason I know all of you guys.
Isn't the butterfly effect pretty weird though? Because like I mean, it's not necessarily to say that your life would suck if you never met us or whatever, but you would have never met. You never been right here, right now, if you didn't, stumble into powerlifting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I didn't really like stumble. That came my freshman year because I took a class. Yeah. That's besides the point. I kind of like fell into the actual like powerlifting community, I guess. Yeah. Through COVID, like I started watching a bunch of people because I didn't interact with many people. Every day was the same. I just woke up, fucking skipped school, played video games, watched TV, like did what I wanted to do. Watched these powerlifters.
Sounds like Zach at InterMed.
Come on.
That's hard. Except he was getting paid for it.
That's harder.
Yeah, see, that's that shit.
That's like shitting on company time.
That's that shit. Keep going.
Just that whole thing just made me much more independent. Like, all through high school, I think you hear like, oh, the trick to like getting people to like you is to not care what people think, or shit like that, And you don't know what that means. And then I went those 2 years without really caring about anyone and not interacting with anyone, just focusing simply on myself.
Yeah.
And it was the best. It was the best. And I think that's what actually changed the person that I was.
I mean, that certainly makes sense.
Turned me to a man.
Let's, and we have Eleanor, my French bulldog that's running around with a squeak toy right now. Michael, how have you changed? Because you said you haven't changed much, but you probably have changed, at least in some domains. I know you still lift and all that, but what's changed the most?
I'd say like I've kind of matured. Like now I don't stay up late. I kind of like just go to bed early. I go to work. Like I've like matured in like I guess you could say like adult way. Like
yeah, I was like the most literal sense.
Yeah,
of the word. Yeah.
Like I never had the college experience, so I went straight from.
I was gonna say talk about that because you didn't go to college.
Yeah. So right out of high school, I think I took like a month off, and then in August I started working for my family business, and ever since I've been there. So it's like I went just from like high school with a bunch of kids and like having fun to like taking things serious.
Immediately thrown into adulthood. Yeah.
So if you didn't go to college, what were you doing at St. Joe's?
Lydia went there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like,
we don't need to get into that super deep, but yeah, Michael will be there. Okay, so that's the main thing. It's just the maturity aspect, or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I still kind of like dress the same and like.
Still into like the same things, or?
Yeah, I was into lifting.
Right, and that's pretty much it. You ski and you're still into that.
Yeah, I'm still into skiing. The new thing is golf, so yeah, I guess I've matured in that way too.
Dude, same.
Yeah, golf is sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just kind of like matured.
Yeah.
Like I've been around my family and like older people the last 5 years or something.
Right.
And like what we do is like pretty serious. I mean, we work with like propane and like oil, so it's explosive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't enjoy school, so that's why I didn't go to college.
Right.
And I still don't enjoy school. Like I've had to go to courses,
Classes and stuff. Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
like recently I had one, and it was terrible. It was
Right.
like a week and a half, and I hated it.
I do remember that. Yeah.
That was right at the end of our, right before I went on my cruise.
Yep.
And we were peaking
When you were
for-
doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It actually was kind of nice though, cause like working a physical job and then like going to the gym is so much harder than like sitting in class all day and going to the gym.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I mean, like everything, you get used to it.
Of course you do. Yeah. You eventually normalize, and for years we did manual labor, and you would still lift it. You know what I mean? So,
And I think that was like a huge, like that was part of the reason why I stopped lifting too. Cause like I went from sitting in class to working outside all day not wanting to go to the gym. Like us three would be at the gym after I'd get out of work.
Right.
I loved it, but then once like,
And I went to college, he went to college, and it was just you.
it was kind of. It was not as fun. Like I didn't want to go.
Yeah, you kind of get like left behind when
Yeah.
people leave. Yeah.
That's why like now I go at 5 a.m.
Right.
by myself. You have to kind of like.
With the old heads.
Yeah. It's fun.
Matured. Too many.
Yeah. Bro Mature now wants to hang out with those people.
I've gone later in the day. Like we've done it before.
Yeah, we've done it before.
And I hate it. It's just way too busy, and I don't like the younger people watching me. Like,
Yeah,
there's so much
kids
pressure.
that ask about scapular winging.
Yeah, those
These
freaking.
fucking kids coming up to you. You know what scapular wing is?
Are you like?
No, but yeah, I understand what you mean. So, Zach, would you say that we're still? Are you still into like the same stuff you were when you were in high school and whatnot?
I don't even remember what I was into in high school.
You know,
Shoes.
that's what I mean. Like you
Girls.
liked yeah,
Yeah.
material things like the shoes stuff, more particular shoes.
Yeah.
You're not really into that anymore.
No, not really. Every like once in a while, like I still look at it
Yeah.
definitely, but like every once in a while a shoe will come out and I'll be like, yeah, like I really want that shoe, but
Right.
like no, I'm not sitting in the line waiting for like the next pair of Jordans to come out. Like what? I don't care about that stuff anymore.
Right.
You were kind of into. I feel like you were kind of into that when I met you. You were in college.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you wore
yeah.
Jordans a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I stopped buying them, but I still liked them. I still like them. I still have all of them.
Yeah.
I just don't really get more.
You ever like flip them?
You've leaned a little bit more into, maybe not leaned into because you can't really do it down in Texas, but your last couple of years in Old Orchard leaned more into like the hunting stuff that you used to like to do. So like hunting, fishing, stuff like that.
Yeah, that definitely came from like my college friends, Roderick and Jarrett.
Yeah.
They were like, and I liked it when I was a kid. Like
You
with my
did.
dad.
That's how when I first met you, that's what you were into.
Yeah, and then my dad like got old and couldn't walk and stuff, and then we stopped going. So then I picked it back up in college, like with Jarrett and Roderick, and they brought me back out and whatever. And I'm still into it. It's just the fact that like I'm not a Texas citizen.
Yeah.
So to buy a hunting license in Texas is like $400
Right.
Wow.
for out of state.
That's
So
a
it's
lot.
it's expensive.
Would you say that I'm still into the same stuff?
I don't know.
Pretty much I've always just been into like training and video games. I didn't really do much, ever.
That's honest though.
No, maybe your music taste has changed a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah, I would say that. I pretty much only listened to rap back then.
Yeah. But aside
Right.
from that, I think.
Then you went through that. I mean, I don't know if you still are, but you went through like the Ariana Grande phase.
Bro, I still love that shit.
Okay.
I just came to accepting of other genres because back then it was like, unfortunately, like we keep bringing it up, it was like you listen to that stuff, it was like that's gay or that's whack or whatever. Like if you were a guy, you need to listen to rap and like
Isn't that
is
so
a-
weird that
mumble
that's
rap.
like such a pressure in high school? Like
That's
It
what you
is.
listen to, right?
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
I
but
just can't get into like the. I mean, I like the radio stuff, but like.
I don't know. I guess I just see it for what it is, and I like to admire it for what it is. I don't necessarily like love the subject matter. I don't really necessarily love the subject matter for a lot of rap songs, but I don't know. I admire people who are doing things in their own domain. I like the uniqueness of it.
I just couldn't listen to it at the gym, which is.
Wait,
when I
yeah,
listen to
okay, yeah,
music.
yeah. That's fair.
My music taste has definitely changed too.
Yeah.
Mine was a lot of rap in high school.
And you like a lot of like country stuff now.
Country,
Yeah.
rock and stuff, yeah.
Elliot,
Elliot.
we just
You got
li-
something
we
to say about
literally
this?
just talked about being accepting of other like musics, and you just that.
You don't like country?
What type of country do you listen to?
Any type of country.
Just hard shit, right?
Is it because you went to Texas?
No, I liked it before that.
You
too.
did like it
It's
before.
because he had a renaissance in college.
The
He got back
Renaissance?
to fishing, hunting.
He got back to his roots. I mean, this
Yeah,
is something that
back
you
to my
talked
roots.
about.
I don't think necessarily
Eric ever tell
country
you-
music is roots, but
Eric ever tell you about time I killed a boar?
no,
It's killed
You
a
should,
boar.
you should ask him sometime.
Yeah.
it's hard.
He killed a boar when he was 10 years old.
Did you eat it?
You should ask him sometime.
Yeah, we can talk about this at a different time.
Alright.
All right. Now, I want to talk about a couple of miscellaneous stories here. So again, me and Zach have had a rich history with each other, competed with each other, been friends for forever. In 2021, we talked about this before on this podcast. I went to nationals, junior nationals, down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This is another funny story. Zach has handled me at 2 or 3 meets. 3.
A lot.
So you were there for my first one, but you didn't
Yes.
really know because you didn't know the game at that point.
We were.
He handled me.
We were all there.
Yeah, we were all there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I mean. The second one, again, you were there. You handled me directly on the third one, which was Main States 2019. I have the picture of you feeding me nose torque.
Yeah.
You handled me at Main State 2020
In Augusta?
in Waterville.
Oh, yeah.
And Andrew Graves is the other person who I will, allow handle my stuff at meets. There was something going on with him, and I was like, Zach, like, what's good? And he's like, yeah, dude, like, I'm definitely going or whatever. And we went down to Louisiana in 2021, and this was like, I guess towards the end of Corona, the first wave of Corona.
Yeah.
So things weren't as or they were you had to mask up almost everywhere. But they weren't as strict as you had to stay in quarantine and stuff like that, and you had to stay inside, and there were a lot of restrictions or whatever. You still could go anywhere. So that was the first time I'd ever traveled for a meet, and it was cool to have Zach there with me, because it was just like a culmination thing. It's like this was someone that I knew way early on in life and was able to see at that point what was the pinnacle of my sporting career and whatnot, and we had a really good time.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
We didn't really have a lot of time to like sightsee or anything like that, but we got to see Baton Rouge a little bit.
Yeah, I think the meet was on like a Thursday.
It was weird. That's why I like those national meets. It's like if I'm going to do one, it's like it throws you off because it's like you're right. It was on a Thursday. Now
It was on like a Thursday. I think we got there on like a Tuesday.
Yeah. And of course I was cutting and stuff like that, so it's like I'm limited with like what I was eating and whatnot. The other thing that I remember is before I get into the actual day, is we pretty much prepped, even though Zach wasn't doing the meet, we prepped together.
Yeah.
Which was pretty sick. So like any day that I would go heavy on dead, he would go heavy on dead or squat or bench. And we did 90% of the prep in this room, where the camera is in that bedroom. And then the others, the deadlift sessions at Foley's Fitness, but fuck that place.
I think I squatted like 360.
Your all-time PR squat is in that bedroom.
In that bedroom.
Yeah. I squatted 200 kilos in that bedroom as well. That being said, we prepped together. We went to the meet. What I thought was funny was Zach down there. And Elliot, I was telling you about this, and I think I might have mentioned it to you. Zach, at this point, knows powerlifting, but he's not like so into it where he like knows who's important or whatever. They're just all guys to him. So like, so they're like people who are like high-level college coaches or whatever, and Zach would walk over and be like, we need to work in. And they'd be like, yeah. And he'd be like, yes, we need to work in right now. And Zach would be stripping plates off, putting the weights that I need on there. But to be honest, like you need that or else I wouldn't be able to get the warm-ups in or whatever. But it was funny to me because these were high-level people, and Zach was just like, fuck you, you're just a guy. Which at the end of the day is true, you know what I mean?
Someone like that.
Absolutely.
To get shit done.
Yeah, exactly. So, it was cool. The meet, went okay. We talked about, the weird mishaps that we had, and I was dealing with a knee injury and whatnot. But we left the next day.
We
did. We left the next day.
Yeah.
Just because he was working, and we had a lot of things, other things to do or whatever. You went out that night. I did not.
I did go out. Yeah.
Did you go out by yourself?
He went out by himself.
Did you go to a strip club?
Listen, all right. Now I'm going to. So I DoorDash Chick-fil-A and watched the NBA playoff game and just like ate after the meet. Zach went out, and I'm gonna let you talk as much as you want to talk about it. There was an app called Tinder that was involved with this. For those of you who are familiar with that.
Do you remember the video that you took the following morning right before we left for the flight? You've got to put that in there at some point.
I don't know if I still have it, but I do.
I have it.
Okay, yeah, please send it to me.
You can put it in there. You got to put it in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went out
because our flight the next day was at like.
It was early.
Wasn't it like at 8?
It was early because when we got up, that video was taken still in the dark.
It was 6 a.m. I remember that video.
Yeah.
We could pull it up. Question for you. You hit last night?
Yeah.
But we had a really early flight, and Zach stayed out till like 5 a.m. or something like that.
I went out. I met this girl on Tinder or whatever. And Tinder Platinum, that is. I paid for it.
That's right. Joe Anderson, if you're watching, #keep swiping.
I met her out in like downtown Baton Rouge or something like that. We went out and whatever, and she was like, well, we can go back to my place, and I was like, all right, let's go. So we went back to her place and whatever, and extracurriculars took place.
Long story short, she got attached.
Oh,
You let's not talk about it, but She got attached.
She got attached.
Was not a good situation.
No.
And then you left and you still haven't talked to her.
Nope. She wanted to come visit me in Maine, actually.
She didn't come visit you in Maine, yeah.
No. Yeah, she didn't.
So that's funny though, but that just goes to show you that like me and Zach are very different people, but like we still get along. You know what I mean? Because that's something I would never do. And he told me he was gonna. I was like, I don't fucking care. Like, go ahead.
I think I got home at like 3 or 4 a.m. and I slept I took a nap. I basically slept for an hour and then we got up and had to leave for the flight. It was bad.
And Zach, and again, but to your credit though, when you're engaged, like you're locked on, this kid drank 2 Reigns to handle me during the day. He was stimming up as if he was competing. Yeah, in general, that's just a fun story there.
You ever drink so much caffeine that like your eyes feel like they're like falling into your face?
No. Andrew Graves.
No. Andrew Graves has. Yeah, he was stemmed out. Zach was here during that.
Yep.
When he snorted the line of C4.
I was here. I also believe Joe Anderson has done that. Right there on that counter.
Right on that counter. Yep. Joe snorted a line of C4.
Oh, this is the stem house.
It's the stem house. I mean, seriously, this is the stem house.
I remember we used to we'd come here or like we'd all be going to the gym and we'd be like, Eric, can you bring me like an energy drink or something like that?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I was the supplier.
Yeah.
It's hard.
So yeah.
We used to have Andy Horvat used to buy like the big bulk things of Reigns.
Yep.
We would keep them in the cabinet that we had in the home gym. Yeah. We're like a little drug dealer.
Yeah, we'll pull up with the Rizzy.
What flavor you have on tap? I got a strawberry cracked open for you.
That's hard, man. That's hard. So that's in general. That because again we like talking about strength training and stuff like that. But, we're also younger. Like, Elliot, you're 19, and Zach's 24. Michael, you're still 23.
23.
I always forget. We're still younger men. We're still figuring things out, you know what I mean? And I think it's just because we don't get a lot of time to, especially as guys, to just, like, reflect on stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just find it cool to talk about this stuff because, it's not cool to talk about high school and stuff like that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was cool to kind of highlight that.
Zach, did you kind of like get into powerlifting because of Eric? Is that how that also like how we all met?
Yeah.
Zach has done a powerlifting meet.
Right.
I have done a powerlifting meet. I was top 100 for a while. In the state of Maine.
Yep.
Definitely got into powerlifting because of Eric for sure. But if you look back on it, like I would say back into like high school, like late high school, maybe like, and then throughout college, Eric like would always give us like stuff to do. So, like, basically all of his programs that, like, he does now, I would, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would argue, like, you tried a lot of different stuff on, like, just us.
Yeah.
Like, he would just, like, prescribe us things, and if it worked, he would run with it, and if it didn't, then he would change it.
Yeah.
And, like, we were like, whatever.
That was fun. It was
good.
Those days were fun, man.
Yeah.
So you've been kind of coaching since high school?
Maybe coaching wouldn't be the right word, but like I've been curating workout programs probably since I was about 15. Yeah.
You think that was more beneficial for you than going to college, for what you do now for coaching?
Like 10 times out of 10, and then if I could go 11 times out of 10, 11. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's hard.
Yeah.
So I guess show people. If you want to be a coach.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I very, very do not recommend the academic route if that's something that you want to go into. But yeah, those days were really fun, man, because I remember Zach had a setup in his, I guess, would you call it the basement?
Yeah, the basement.
Yeah. Yeah, because we did some stuff in the garage, but that was later. But he had a setup in his basement that was not conducive, I guess, to what we were trying to do, but we just kind of forced it.
Yeah.
He had a barbell, he had plates, and, we would do deads. We didn't bench a lot, but we started benching towards the end. We always squatted, we front squatted. Yeah. What I thought was pretty cool is we, like, I don't know, again, what the landscape was for you guys, but we actually trained because you guys, you didn't really do sports. You only did sports for a little bit. We were like the first people in our area to like train for sports, which I always think was pretty cool.
I started lifting because of football. So,
right. Yeah.
I mean, kind of.
Like, there's not a lot. I mean, again, I'm not super familiar, but there was no people that were. Because we were kids, we would go to the track and we would put ourselves through hell running sprint intervals. Yeah. And we did things like borderline the right way. We weren't just doing like suicide pace type sprint.
Right.
Like just getting ourselves tired. Like we did like actual progressions and stuff like that. So we were really advanced in that regard. And that definitely showed because we were always in shape. And
I think it also like trickled down to a lot of the other athletes that came through Old Orchard. Because then after us you had like Ian Regan, who was very good at basketball and things of that nature. He was always working on his game.
Yeah.
Ryan Crockett, 1,000-point scorer.
Yeah.
Like he was always training, working out, like doing specific specific training for what he was trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like I said, it's just, it was cool. It was cool in the moment, and especially looking back now, and anyone who wants to do like a deep dive on my Instagram, you could see, because I still have all those videos up there.
Okay.
I still have my Instagram from when I was in junior in high school. It's the same account. So you can see the stuff that we were doing back then. A couple of things that I remember, Zach only had 300 pounds total on that barbell. So I remember we didn't know to pull mixed grip on a deadlift, and we didn't know hook grip, so everything was double overhand. So we all worked up to 300 pounds on deadlift, double overhand, no chalk. So that was pretty cool. I remember that was a big deal for us. I remember it was a big deal the first time one of us squatted 300 pounds. That was a big deal.
That's huge.
That
Who was it?
It was Brendan Harlan.
Was it really?
Yeah, Brendan
Really?
Harlan. Yep,
Wait,
he was the first person.
Brendan, like the one I know?
Yep.
Yeah.
He was
He doesn't even work out anymore.
He still works
works
out.
out, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
he still works out,
Not
but
a
like
mess.
not like that, I
Right,
guess.
'cause he has like back issues and stuff like that. That is
Kind of,
something-
but he has like, he does a lot of, he's like, his work stuff is really, yeah, that's the main thing.
So at this point, were you guys training like honest though? Or was it
Yeah,
just- okay.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
like, there was never a period where we
It's like
like we're
dumbasses.
like dumb idiots.
Yeah.
I can never, because I
No.
remember like I legitimately don't remember a period where we were like, bro, let's fucking max out or anything like
Yeah.
that. We like always did things the right way.
Yeah, and there was a few times where like we went to XL to like work on basketball and stuff, like work on our game in terms of that, and like we would be training pretty like so hard that like because I never ate breakfast and stuff, I'd be like I'm like gonna pass out, like I can just sit down for a minute.
Yeah, I remember that quite vividly actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like those days were really fun to me because it was so, and I'm not to get too like emotional about it, but it was like pure, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like we didn't have a lot of things that we had to worry about. It was just like worked out. We would go to IHOP like 6 days. I'm not joking, like 6 days a week out in South Portland. And that would be it. It would be like wake up, go to work. We'd get out of work. We would go lift. We would go eat together, and then we would break from there.
Yep.
And that was like those days were really cool to me. And I'm sure you guys had experiences somewhat like that.
Oh yeah, we would do the same thing. Like go to school, go to the gym for like 2-3 hours or whatever, just for fun, and then go like out to eat somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool though. That like you guys kind of like taught yourselves how to lift. Like
Yeah.
I was brought up by somebody who knew how to lift.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So like you guys trial and error things. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure you like looked it up online, like
Yeah, of course.
YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like you didn't have somebody like pushing you. You pushed yourselves.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I think that was pretty cool too. I mean, we taught ourselves in sports too.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you remember, like for track and field and stuff like that, we were the ones who came up with the goddamn handoff exchange. Like we
Yeah.
taught ourselves how to do that.
Yep.
You guys were never taught how to do handoffs?
We were taught the wrong way, and then
Yeah.
we quickly were like, no, we're gonna do it this way, and it ended up being better. But that's not gonna, we don't have to get into that. All right, so we talked a lot. I think that would be a good spot to end it. So let's go to, unless anyone has anything else to add.
I have a question for Zach.
Okay.
This is something that I personally am struggling with right now. No, don't laugh. This is serious. This is serious. Yeah, I think a lot of people need to hear this. You weren't a very good student in high school.
No.
Yeah. So we talked about in the beginning of the pod how you have like the 28 credit semesters. Like what clicked for you? Because obviously that takes much more dedication than just like bunking off in high school. And for me, I kind of have like the opposite, I think, from you, where I was really good in high school, and now I'm kind of like falling off, and I can't like keep myself, yeah, I guess like
Engaged.
consistent, engaged, whatever, like Corona, whatever, blame it on whatever. But I'm just too like lazy. Like I can't even imagine putting in that much work. So like, what changed for you?
I had graduated high school. I think my GPA was a 3.2. My GPA in college was worse. It was a 2.9.
Yeah, I was gonna say in undergrad even you weren't exactly a great student.
I didn't study. I sat in class. I paid attention, and then I was out of class. I wasn't studying. I wasn't doing homework unless there was like a paper or something to do. And then for a test, I would
Wait till last minute.
Yeah, wait till last minute. And for a test, I would just go in and like just try to remember what I learned in class. Like I'd never studied. And then I took a year off and did a bunch of stuff and whatever. And then what clicked for me is finding something that I really, really, really wanted to do. So like everyone's always like, you know, you get out of high school. High school is like all the classes that you don't want to take, blah blah blah, and then they're like college is way better because you get to do like specific things. Yeah. That's also bullshit. Like I was taking theology courses. Like, do you think I want to learn the Bible?
Yeah, well, that's because you were at St. Joe.
That's so
right.
Stupid shit.
Right.
Yeah.
I
want to know the Bible.
So like stuff like that, and then so for me it was deciding what I really really wanted, and then finding a way that like you study and retain information. It's like a million times different because now I go into a test where I study well with flashcards. I write flashcards out and then I like read them. You know what I mean? And then going into a test now and being like, okay, this is an hour-long test. It's 52 questions, and I finished it in 30 minutes. And I knew all of it, and I just got to be on it. Like, that's rewarding.
That's hard.
So I think finding a way that like you study well is a big deal. And then finding something you're passionate about.
Right.
So
were you like nervous going into chiropractor school because you had like been kind of slacking off?
I was more nervous because I hadn't been in school for a while, like picking up the study habits. And I would say my first trimester was tough. My second trimester was the hardest. I almost failed a class. I had a 68 during the final, and I needed an 80 on the final, and I got an 80. So I passed it with a 70. And then I was like, okay, something's not working. I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
And then that was when I was like, how do I study well? How do I retain information? So I think that's the big thing.
You feel like I think a big thing about putting all that time into studying for me is like I just feel like I have much more that I would rather be doing. You feel like fulfilled with what you're doing, or do you hate it?
No, I don't feel fulfilled with what I'm doing at all. School is like
necessary evil.
You have to do it to be able to like treat patients. And when I'm treating patients, it'll be different.
Yeah.
But like I've also talked to other doctors in the field and stuff, and they're like, school does not prepare you to see patients.
Yeah.
It prepares you to like take a test and take an exam and maybe teach, but that's about it.
Yeah, well, same with Eric.
Yeah.
Coaching people.
Like school does not prepare you to deal with clients.
Yeah, we've talked about this all the time.
Yeah.
I just, if I could do it over, I would have done something different.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I don't regret it in the sense of I know a lot now. But it was not necessarily like you, because we have the same undergrad degree.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't go to chiropractic, there would be no job for you.
Right.
So,
right. That's the thing too, is like some undergrad degrees you get out and you're like, well, now what do I do with this?
Exactly.
Especially now. So.
And then you have all this debt, and it's like, okay, here's your degree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So again, does anyone have anything else to add, or?
I'm good now.
Okay. So with that being said, I think it's time to go to shoutouts. So for those who are tuning in for the first time, shout out to the segment where you can shout out any entity you want. And yes, that means any entity, anything, anyone. The floor is yours, and the floor is yours only. Does anyone have anything to shout out first? Who would like to go first?
You want to go, Elliot, or you want me to go?
You go.
I want to shout out Rogue for the fast shipping with our new bar. Okay. Our new bar is sick. It's a stainless steel.
Power bar.
Yeah. We're going to try and use it tomorrow. Actually, Elliot's going to go use it. He's going to be the first one to use it.
Deflower that bitch.
Yeah. But yeah, we literally ordered it on Friday, and it came in today on Tuesday. Yeah. So not even a week. Right. I was very surprised about that. But yeah. Shout out them.
Shout out Rogue, man. Elliot, would you like to go next?
No, anyone else can go first.
That's code for I don't have anything in my head yet.
No, I actually do.
You actually?
Yeah.
You want to save yourself for last? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, sure. I don't care. It's not that deep.
Zach, you got some?
I got two.
Okay, go ahead.
So one, no one knows who this is, but I'm gonna shout out Dr. Olson from Parker University. She is great shit. We're doing a research project together on treatment of shin splints down when I get back to Texas. So excited about that. And then I'm also gonna shout out Maine.
Wow,
great state. Love it here. I'm glad I left. Can't wait to come back.
I'm glad that you said that, because I remember before you left, like, I can't wait to leave this hellhole.
Yeah.
I guess absence makes the heart grow fonder, right, Elliot?
Yeah.
He got back to his roots.
Yeah.
Elliot, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm gonna shout out the straw hats.
He looks right at me.
Like the cowboy hats?
No one's gonna get that. So can you explain?
I'm not really gonna elaborate too much. Just the parallels are.
I
just love that shit.
Give me like a 3-sentence breakdown of the straw hats for people who don't know.
All right, the straw hats are the main pirate group. in the show One Piece. Currently my favorite show. Currently the show that is taking up majority of my life. I love that shit. Gets me hype every day. Gets me happy. Makes me feel alive. I love that shit so much. I'm gonna cry right now.
You seem like you're getting a little emotional.
Dude. I mean, you're talking about pure when you're younger. Like, that shit is pure. That, I mean,
yeah.
I don't even have anything to say. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. If you don't want to watch it, you fucking suck. And that's it, dude. Like, man, some people just won't live.
Fair.
That's all right.
Absolutely fair. All right, so I have two as well. First one, I'm gonna shout Zach out because because you know, we've been through a lot together. You know, in this lifetime, if I could pick top 5, you're in the top 5. You know what I mean? And then of course, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So just in general, shout you out. And I guess the second thing I would like to shout out would just be the feeling of excitement, because the last couple of weeks and months, I've just been so lit lately, and there's a lot of things on the horizon that I'm just really excited about. And it's been a very long time for me where I can say, like, truly that I wake up and I'm excited to like get after things. You know, people say, you know, they wake up and I love doing what I'm doing or whatever. You can fake that.
Yeah, that's
and no one will really know.
Yeah.
But like, this is like truly genuine, where I wake up and I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of things that I can accomplish today. There's a lot of things that I want to do and a lot of things in the horizon. And it's just a good feeling to have. You know what I mean? So I want to shout that out.
Team Hogan Gym X, Dr. Hirst.
Yeah, I guess right.
You should Dr. Hirst.
What is it? Beachtown Barbell?
Beachtown Barbell.
Something like that.
We might have to go Utopia Barbell, man.
With our own podcast studio, and then like on the side, the
Hey man, we'll speak into his existence now.
Yeah. Would you hire me as a trainer?
I knew for a fact I was gonna. The first thing was, yo, you trying to give me a job?
Elliot's gonna program arms and slingshot.
If you hire me, yo, bro, you going into the office today? You trying to give me a ride?
You trying to scoop?
You literally have to go backwards to go forward.
Yeah, don't laugh though. That might be a real possibility within the next 5 or 6 years or so.
That'd be really
Dude,
cool.
I'll fucking code our website.
Okay, bro.
Why don't you start editing our pod?
That's different.
Yeah. Okay.
That's different shit.
No,
All right.
who is it? Zach?
Yeah, Zach.
He does a good
Max.
job.
Yeah, we should all seriously shout out Zach
Yeah.
Maxa. You
Shout
guys,
out
you do
Zach.
a really good job with this. Everything that we do, he works a full-time job and he makes these so perfect. We wouldn't be able to do it without them. I should honestly do more, and I need to start tagging him as the producer because he does a lot for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zach, haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well.
I was gonna say, you know Zach as well.
Were you an asshole to Zach?
No, absolutely
no,
not.
me and Zach are pretty good friends.
Yeah, never.
It's an exception.
All right, so I think unless anyone has any words, you know what? Let's do a formal like we usually do. Zach, do you have any words in closing before we end this thing here?
Nope.
Elliot, do you have any words in closing?
Nope.
Okay. Michael, do you have any words in closing?
Zach,
It's good. I don't want to know.
you're still a bitch.
Fuck you, dude.
No, actually, I do have words in closing. That reminded me. Dude, when I called you a bitch earlier,
Laptop's gonna die soon, so make it quick.
it wasn't serious.
I didn't take it serious.
I like you.
Seriously though, thanks
So
for
happy
coming.
that you like me. Thanks, Michael.
Now you're hurting my feelings.
We really enjoy having guests. So yes, Zach, thank you for coming. So in closing, that was episode 11 of the Utopiacast. Thank you guys for listening. We love you all. Tune in whenever our next one is. Hopefully next week. Got a thumbnail that now. What are we gonna do?
5 minutes later.
We need to make this like crazy.
Oh my god, let's all pray to him.
That would be good. With your eyes closed like this.
Oh.
All right, Zach. This is the thumbnail here. Okay.